guys.
Hi guys.
Welcome to Nerdy News, where we talk about everything nerdy that happened this week. First story comes out of Walt Disney's Animal Kingdom, where Pandora, the world of Avatar, is officially opened. So if you know anything about Avatar, you know that it was the highest grossing film of all time, doing over $2 billion. It was a film that made a lot of money, and it was sort of industry changing. I remember when it came out, seeing it in 3D it sort of blew us away. Now this is a theme park that's been 6 years in the making.
Now when you look at it, you will understand why it's taken so long, because the Imagineers have built an amazing attraction for people.
It took them $500 million to build this thing.
Well, I mean, the movie grossed enough to justify it, so...
So it's got 2 rides. The first one is the Navi River Journey, which is a boat ride that takes visitors down the river in the bioluminescent forest at night. It's beautiful.
It is
without
beautiful.
a doubt. You know, they really had to capture those bioluminescent lights that you saw in the movie, and especially in 3D. It was sort of breathtaking.
It also has the Flight of Passage ride, where you fly on the back of a Banshee in a 3D flight simulator.
Speaking of Banshees, the park actually allows you to take a Banshee home with you. In the Harry Potter world, you're able to take a wand home. Well, you're allowed to take a Banshee home.
Yes!
Also, there are parts in there where it creates your own avatar. You'll walk into it, and it sort of does this thing, and then it decides, hey, this is what you look like as an avatar. But a few of the most breathtaking things about this park are the floating mountains.
Oh my gosh, they're so beautiful.
I can't figure out how they did that engineering-wise.
And they will not tell anybody.
They won't tell anybody. I'm sure it was a marvel, no doubt.
I'm sure.
And then those bioluminescent lights, including the ground that you walk on. I mean, just to be able to walk on those sidewalks that glow like that, it really shines when the sun goes down.
Definitely.
The park is absolutely beautiful.
The park comes to life.
Yes. And this park will grow and expand as the movies expand.
Right.
Because we do know there are more avatars coming out in the future. I think he said 5, maybe?
I know, I didn't realize there were that many.
James Cameron, man, he's all over the place. Just making crap. Making billions of dollars.
That's right. The next story comes from Vanity Fair, where they're discussing Carrie Fisher and being the star of episode 9, or possibly could have been. According to Lucasfilm's president, Kathleen Kennedy, she told the magazine that the late actress had a blast filming The Last Jedi. The minute she finished, she grabbed me and said, I better be at the forefront of 9, because Harrison was front and center on 7, and Mark is front and center on 8. She thought 9 would have been her movie, and it would have been, Kennedy said.
So that's a super shame. Of course, she did pass away last year. And for her to have her own movie, that would have just made the sort of trinity of Star Wars end really well. And Lucasfilm also has said that they will not use any CG of her or any past footage, stock footage of her for 9. So this is basically it for her. The Last Jedi is her last movie. So I don't know if they had to rewrite her script and kind of give her send-off. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be interesting. Hopefully they give her due.
I hope that they make this movie kind of like a good farewell, not only to Star Wars fans, but to Carrie Fisher fans in general.
I think that Luke is dying.
I hope not, but I think you're probably right.
I think Han, spoiler, Luke, and then Leia would have been, that would have been hers, and that would have kind of been the end of it. It would have been a great thing. So we'll see what happens.
Luke and Leia might both go together.
Yeah, I know. Ooh, that'd be tough. Up next for Batman fans, we might have finally got our Penguin casted for, I guess, an upcoming, or the standalone Batman. We don't really know what's going on with it. We do know that there will be some standalone Batmans, but we know that Ben Affleck has stepped down from it, and it's sort of in a little bit of chaos right now as far as what we see from the outside. We don't know about the inside, obviously. But it looks like Josh Gad might be our next Penguin. Now, if you're familiar with Josh Gad, you know him as the voice of Olaf in Frozen, but most recently, and probably more importantly, LeFou in Beauty and the Beast. Now, he's been dropping hints since May. His most recent hint was the most telling. Gad tweeted a photo of himself at the DC Entertainment office alongside DC Creative Director Jeff Johns and Wonder Woman producer John Berg, while holding a comic with Penguin plastered on the front of it. That comic being Batman Adventures #1. Underneath this, nothing to see here. That is what he tweeted. Can you really sort of show your cards anymore?
I mean, it's like, put everything on the table, like,
this is it.
But wait, it's not confirmed, sort of, but we'll
Why would you ever do that? Not only that, he is like the perfect looking Penguin.
Yes.
Now, speaking of that comic he's holding up, that is from Batman Adventures #1, which followed Batman the Animated Series. So we don't know if maybe that's a hint at the type of Penguin he's going to be going for. Now, if it was up to me, I'd like to see maybe more of the Arkham games Penguin. A more destructive, malevolent Penguin with a bit of mob boss mentality that runs his underground iceberg lounge. That is very important to me. I want to see an iceberg lounge. One thing I would really like them to get right in the Batman standalone movies is Gotham City. I want a living, breathing city. One that feels like it could breed supervillains. A dark, devastated town that feels like its citizens truly need a Batman-like character. And being that they are going with a comic version of Batman, it could really play well. One of the drawbacks of Nolan's visions, there's not many, but one of the drawbacks was Gotham City. It felt very cookie cutter. Chicago.
Definitely.
It was just a city that had some crazy people in it. I would love to see Gotham as it's meant to be. A Gothic-style town with neon lights reflecting off the crime-ridden pavement. I want the Iceberg Lounge, the Orb Theater, Ace Chemicals, Black Canary Club, Wayne Tower. I want to feel like Gotham City was one of the best parts of the film. One that I want to explore with my eyes. I want Bruce Wayne to overlook his city atop Wayne Tower and feel overwhelmed as well as the viewer. It should feel noir.
Absolutely it should. Even if they put these buildings like in the background during a car chase, something. I want to see this. I want to see the Canary Club. I want to be able to like, oh my gosh, like a nice little nod.
As a Batman fan, we would be like, oh look, there's that. What's he doing? Maybe Riddler's in that.
Exactly.
Even though he's not in the movie, we want to be able to think, you know, this world does exist around Batman. He just can't get to these other villains because there's so many of them. The Arkham games nail it. I think out of any of the things that have ever nailed what Gotham City should be, definitely the Arkham games. And also Batman the Animated Series did really well. Now, as far as movies go, the closest thing was Tim Burton. Now, Tim Burton was sort of the perfect guy.
Tim Burton's such a visionary.
He is a visionary. He's a dark visionary, too. It was very close. Not as far as I would like to have seen it, but I don't think it sort of did work for his vision.
It did.
But his Batman wasn't quite what this Batman is. And then Schumacher tried it. And I gotta be honest, I mean, his Gotham City was a little dark. But at the same time, it was so campy and kitschy, it just didn't work.
Well, speaking of Tim Burton, I would love to see the big giant rubber ducky car come back.
Creativity in vehicles.
Yeah, definitely.
No doubt about it. That's one thing I think a lot of the movies now sort of get wrong. They go for detail over creativity. It was all about design and not as much as detail. And I kind of would prefer that. Fun. It should be fun a little bit. Especially with somebody like Gad.
Definitely.
I mean, that could be really great. I do love the way Gotham has portrayed Penguin. But in a movie, I'd like to see him be more close to what Penguin actually was. Next story, if you're Conjuring fans, you'll get excited about this. Maybe a little worried, I don't know.
Maybe a little concerned.
Conjuring 3 is possibly going to be in the works, and it's going to have werewolves. A werewolf, I should say. It's not going to be about ghosts, it's not going to be about haunting. So Conjuring 1 grossed $318 million, which was insane for a horror movie, but something that is unheard of for horror films. The second one did better. At $320 million. Fantastic. James Wan is the director of this. I bow down to James Wan. I love him. I love Conjuring. I think it's the greatest horror story told in a long time.
Definitely.
You know, they follow Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are psychics, demonologists, ghost hunters, if you will. It follows their real-life stories. Now, me personally, I've read a lot of books from Ed and Lorraine Warren. They are amazing. They will open your eyes to crazy things. Now, the most important thing to me is Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are expected to come back as the paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren. They are so good together.
They are. They have such a great on-screen chemistry, and they make you feel fear and excitement. Everything about this movie, they are great together.
Now, Wan has said that ideally it will take place in the 1980s and center around a werewolf. He also speculates that he might not return for The Conjuring 3. He was a little worrisome, but that's because he's directing Aquaman, because he wants a scary Aquaman movie. Ooh, I can't wait for that. Now, why get away from ghosts and hauntings and go into werewolves? Conjuring 3 producer Peter Safran believes it's vital for the next film to go in a different direction and not just recreate the haunted house formula that the first two movies were primarily entrenched in. He goes on to say there are some cases that maybe aren't as well known, but they spent a fair bit of time researching and were part of them. Clearly we cannot do another haunted house movie, right? We can't do another supernatural possession in a house with a family in peril, right? So it's gotta be something different than that, I think. I don't know if I agree with that. It is a little hard to see monsters in a real light. It's a little too far compared to maybe a possession or a ghost. But there is a light to the end of this tunnel. Ed Warren actually published the book Werewolf, A True Story of Demonic Possession in 1991. This story centers around a man named Bill Ramsey that was diagnosed with clinical lycanthropy, which is defined as a rare psychiatric syndrome that involves a delusion that the affected person can transform into, has transformed into, or is a non-human animal. So, yes, it's probably, more than likely, a psychiatric problem.
Probably. I mean, I think a lot of scientists would say that demonic possession is another form of a mental problem. Regardless of what you think or feel, you can still go into it and have an open mind and be frightened.
It's all about being fearful because you just don't know.
Right.
That's what makes it great. Now, to go further into the story, Ed and Lorraine Warren did look at his case, Bill Ramsey, and was like, well, I don't know. I mean, we don't really believe in werewolves, so they got there and actually sort of realized this was a demonic possession. And that's actually what Bill Ramsey felt. He felt like he was being taken over by something that felt like a wolf spirit, I think is what he said, something like that. But yeah, I think he went as far as to say, like, when it was a full moon, he would go crazy with fear and anger, and he would be super strong. He said he tore a fence post out one time and threw it like it was nothing. And they actually had to do an exorcism on him, and that's how he lost that. So you could argue for lycanthropy, but how did he become better after that? Who knows? Who cares? It's going to be a fun movie.
It's going to be a good movie either way.
However, I think I would still rather stick to the haunted. I like the haunted house.
I did too. I mean, Conjuring 2 petrified me for months. Now, moving into video games, Nintendo announced that they're going to delay their online services until 2018, but with that comes some really exciting news. Pricing. For a 1-month membership, it's going to be $3.99 US. A 3-month membership is $7.99 US, and a 12-month membership is going to be $19.99 US.
So, wow.
Cheap.
That is something that blew me away to see those prices.
Yes.
Nintendo has really done something here. They didn't decide to take the model of like an Xbox or a PlayStation where you wanted $60 a year, where maybe the kid can't afford that, or it's really hard to ask their mom, hey mom, can I have an online service or whatever, need $60, and the mom's like, what did you talk about? You know, that's the thing. Nintendo knows who they're catering to. It is, even though a lot of adults play it, it still is catered to youth. Now, to go over some of the information that we learned, you will be able to play competitive or co-op games online with the account. You will be able to have online lobby and voice chat via the app, and a limited version of this app will be available for download in summer 2017. Now, Nintendo stated Nintendo Switch Online subscribers will have ongoing access to a library of classic games with added online play. Users can play as many games as they want, as often as they'd like, and as long as they have an active subscription with Nintendo. Okay, well that's it.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
You've done something that none of the others have done. This makes the Switch, in my opinion.
Definitely.
This is like the Netflix of gaming. It's a streaming service, basically. You play whatever you want. This is like what PlayStation was trying to do with PlayStation Now, but you still had to pay for it. But this, to say $20 a year, you will have access to a library of NES games, and a few that they mentioned was Super Mario Bros. 3, Balloon Fight, and Dr. Mario. They also stated that more games will be announced at a later date. At launch, the classic game library will include NES games. Super NES games continue to be under consideration, but we have nothing further to announce at this time. They also stated special offers for subscribers may include discounts on select digital games and content. This is kind of everything that everybody was hoping for.
Absolutely. I mean, this is kind of what we talked about in the first Nerdy News, where we were like, we really wanted the mini NES and we weren't able to get the classic version. But now we're able to have access to these games that we wanted so badly to have access to.
I mean, this honestly makes the Switch for me. The announcement last week doesn't really attract me, saying that Call of Duty might be coming to the Switch, but this does. This literally makes that portability 100 times better.
Absolutely.
It's almost like a cell phone where you have any kind of game you want to download, cool and everything, but now this is like legitimate old games that you can play on it. I'm a big fan of that, and this will continue to keep the Nintendo Switch relevant. Now, of course, we need to see that library and sort of determine that. Right. We don't want to jump the gun, because who knows, maybe it'll have like 10 games and they'll all be back. Who knows what that's going to be, but if they follow through and they really try to put as many old great NES, SNES, all, you know, maybe even GameCube, who knows, games on this for free. Well, I mean, it's not free, but it's $20, but basically free. I mean, you blew my mind, Nintendo, and I think we'll jump on board if that's the case. Now, speaking of Nintendo Switch, we also know one thing that's a little bad about the Nintendo Switch, and that is the voice chat. It doesn't come direct from the Switch. You gotta use your cell phone. In comes the Hori Splatoon headset. The Japanese Twitter account for Splatoon posted pictures of Hori Splatoon 2 headphones. Now, if you play the game, you know that these headsets are modeled after the headsets in the game. They look nice as far as style goes. I got no problems with that headset. However, those headphones have to go to a splitter, and then that splitter to the smartphone, and then another lead to the Switch itself. It's very cumbersome. It
sounds so complicated. Can you imagine carrying your cell phone, all these cords, your headset, everything around with you? It's going to be a jumble of cords and a mess.
Yeah, so there are a couple, I guess, opinions that I have about this. Number one, I think if I'm going on the go, and I'm playing in a car or on a plane or anything like that, I'll get over it, honestly. Right. I mean, yeah, it's not, I mean, it does suck in today's world where you have to have all these cords because everything is so streamlined.
Right.
But I'll get over it. I think really where the problem is, if you play at home a lot, that would really get annoying.
Absolutely.
Because number one, you're going to have to sit a little closer, probably. And because you might have to charge everything because it's going to be sucking battery power. You might even have to have a battery block on your phone.
Or have your phone plugged into the wall.
Or, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen there that would be very, very annoying. I mean, the truth is, I can get over it. I can do whatever I have to do that if I do want to chat. But it's just one of those things that, you know, Nintendo always does seem to fall short when it comes to this.
Right.
Anything online chat, anything like that, voice capability, they just keep falling short. Now, if that meant that is why we have a $20 a year service, then whatever. I'll take it. I'll take a cheaper service than having to pay $60 a year to be able to plug a headset directly into my Switch. I don't care. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care. But what about the kids that maybe do want to voice chat with their friends and don't have a cell phone yet?
Right.
So if that even exists now, I don't know.
Now moving into what we watched this week, up first is F is for Family, and it's a Netflix exclusive, and Season 2 premiered on May 30th. It's created by comedian Bill Burr. Now if you haven't seen F is for Family, it's an adult-oriented animated sitcom about an imperfect family that follows a disgruntled Korean War veteran, Frank Murphy, which is voiced by Burr, in the 1970s, and his 3 kids and wife. It's a raunchy, profane version of King of the Hill with a little bit of Beavis and Butthead mixed in with Married with Children. And also involved with the show is Vince Vaughn as an executive producer, so you know the show is going to have some great one-liners and good funny moments.
And it totally does. So this comes highly recommended if you're looking for something a little raunchy, a little funny, although it is not kid appropriate. So this is definitely an adult show, 100% adult show. And also what we got to see this week was Wonder Woman, the movie. This was so good.
It was so good, guys. I highly recommend going and seeing this. The scores are coming out. Everybody's loving it for the most part. Most people are loving it.
I mean, it's like at a 94, I think, on Metacritic or something like that.
Something
93.
like that. It's totally
across the
worth
board. People are saying they love it, and we have to agree. This is a fantastic movie. We finally get the third in the trinity of movies all at the same time. Wow. I mean, the movie was done so well.
Oh my gosh, they blew me away with the graphics, the acting, everything. It was so
Gal
fantastic.
Gadot is Wonder Woman.
Hands down, she's Wonder Woman. I can't imagine anyone else. I mean, Linda Carter did a great job, but Gal Gadot just kills it.
Go see Wonder Woman. This is the best DC film done in a very long time since Nolan. I would say this possibly could be in my top 5 of all time.
It's my top 2 for sure.
So yeah, really good, and stay tuned for our further review on the channel a little bit later. Now, going over some of the comics this week, we got Flash number 23. This is part 1 of The Color of Fear. We also get Trinity Volume 2 Annual number 1. Wonder Woman Volume 5 Annual 1. We also got a couple Funko covers this week. Donald Duck Volume 2 number 20. And Judge Dredd Blessed Earth number 2. A new TMNT comic titled TMNT Amazing Adventures Robot Animals number 1. We also get number 42 of Saga.
Yay!
Now that's a very, very cool cover. It reminds me of that gum. What's that zebra that has the colored gum? Was that just called zebra gum?
It was zebra gum, yeah.
That's what the cover reminds me of. And then continuing Thanos Volume 2 number 7. This is a comic series that I'm really, really enjoying. We also get some John Tyler action figure variants. Cable Volume 4 number 1. Generation X Volume 2 number 2. And Secret Empire number 3. And we also get the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 2017 Annual number 1 that has a lot of variants. Now moving on to toys and collectibles, I think this was a very good week for toys and collectibles. We saw some amazing things, so let's talk about them. First thing up is the NECA SDCC TMNT Collector's Case. The kit includes 8 action figures. You got Donatello, Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Raphael, of course. We also get Shredder, Krang with Bubble Walker, and 2 foot soldiers, and tons of accessories, all packed into 2 figure trays and a vinyl carrying case. Talk about bringing you back to the 90s and 80s.
Yes.
This is hilarious. Now, once again, this thing is an SDCC exclusive that will be $200. Now, lucky for non-con goers, this will be online at the NECA store starting in June. It is limited to 5,000 pieces. Now, if you pay attention to NECA, you know that last year they did the 8-bit arcade version of these, and then, of course, this one is modeled more after the animation TV show in the early 90s, late 80s. Big fan of this.
I
it's
really
fantastic.
want this.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Now, continuing on with the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, Mezco has revealed the Living Dead doll of unmasked Harley Quinn. She looks unbelievably creepy.
I think this is the one to have.
Absolutely.
I mean, they do have another version where she's wearing her mask. It looks great. But this one really shows how wicked Harley Quinn actually is.
The doll is going to be $55 and she's 10 inches tall. It's available for pre-order on Mezco's website.
So go get it.
That's right.
Now, if you're familiar with the Fantasy Figure Gallery statues, you've seen probably their Batman, and I think their Batgirl. But now they've revealed the Superman Luis Rayo 1/6 scale statue. This thing's going to be 17 inches tall and $249. All of these Fantasy Figure Gallery statues, the artwork on them is a lot different than what you're probably used to, at least in Western culture. Even the body language oftentimes is different than we're used to. Well, nothing's really changing here in the Superman statue. It's a little feminine, in my opinion.
Yeah, his face is very feminine.
Yeah, so I don't know if I really care for it too much. The Batman one looks okay, although the Batman does have a little bit of a feminine posture as well. Yeah, there you go. $249, the Luis Rayo Superman. X-Files fans, you are finally going to get a 1/6 scale of Agent Mulder. This is really cool. This is coming from 3-0. It's going to run you $168 for the normal version, and then $180 for the trench coat exclusive. So he will be coming with the trench coat, basically. Now, that price does include worldwide shipping. Face sculpt's really done well. The clothing looks really great. It looks like Agent Mulder.
I mean, what is Mulder without his trench coat? So you kind of have to splurge and get that.
Also, Scully. What's Mulder without Scully? So,
that's right!
That.
One thing that really blew me away this week and I'm super excited for is the Harley Quinn Mockette by Tweeterhead. She's 19 inches tall, has a funhouse base, transparent flame with vapor trail coming off of her rocket pack. Now, if you order this off of the Tweeterhead website, she's going to have an exclusive Joker doll and goggles. If you order it from another website, you won't have that. You're just going to have her pop gun and a bomb. It'll still have the Batman doll at the base, which is cool. Either one I'm A-okay with, but that Joker doll just kind of adds a little extra.
I don't even care. I kind of like her pop gun. It doesn't matter. This is one of the best things I've ever seen Tweeterhead do. This is one of the most dynamic, crazy statues of Harley I've ever seen. It could be the most dynamic, crazy Harley statue I've ever seen. So, props to Tweeterhead,
That's
man.
right. Gotta have this.
Yeah, you blew us away this week. Moving into Funko, a Target exclusive Darth Vader with TIE Fighter pop has been revealed. This thing is coming out in mid-June. Now, if you know anything about Funko and Star Wars and the licensing, they are not allowed to do pop rides because somebody else owns the license to do rides, cars basically, of Star Wars. However, Funko gets by with it by putting a base and then sort of one object or whatever. Anybody that's going to be a fan of Star Wars, this is going to be an obvious must-have. Although it is at Target, so good luck. We're also getting a couple upgraded Game of Thrones pops as well as a few new series. This isn't going to be a wide release. We're only getting one exclusive and a pocket pop and a 6-inch and then a few of the pops. So it's not a wide release. It's just one that seems like they're just kind of doing some fill-in work.
Funko also revealed Kingsman's pops. These are really fun. We're getting Harry, Eggsy, Valentine, and Gazelle. Now this movie is great and it's just in time for the upcoming Kingsman 2 movie.
Underrated movie.
Yes,
Anybody that sees this movie will be like, that was really, really good.
Right.
But anybody that doesn't see the movie, like, that looks really stupid.
Right.
Right? Unbelievable movie, and I gotta say that the sculpts on these are great. They've done a great job.
We're also getting new Lion King pops. We're getting Simba with the big flower around his head and Rafiki holding baby Simba. I've noticed a lot of people commenting on the picture of Rafiki with Simba saying that Rafiki looks a little bit creepy and scary because his eyes look like they're peering into your soul.
Yeah, looks a little demonic, like he's gonna throw Simba to Scar or the hyenas or something.
They've given me the child.
What am I gonna do with him? Where's the fire? Quantum Mechanics has revealed a new Netflix Daredevil Q-Fig. This is going to measure 4¼ inches tall, and Daredevil is depicted rebounding off a brick wall base with his signature billy clubs in hand. This thing is going to run you $14.99. Beatles fans, John Lennon fans, something I've been waiting for a long time and I was blown away to see it. Molecule 8, a new 1/6 scale company basically, is going to have a John Lennon 1/6 scale figure. Oh my god, the face sculpt.
Can you imagine?
The portrait on this was done so well. Now what's cool about this is it's going to come with 3 different versions. One body, but it's going to have 3 interchangeable outfits. It's going to have the Imagine music video outfit, the Dick Cavett show. Now that's kind of the one that I sort of remember the most, just with John Lennon, not Beatles. And then the Making of Imagine suit. This thing is going to run you $299.95, and it will release sometime between July and September 2017.
But I think that this one, since it's not tied to the Beatles, they were able to get it for a little bit cheaper, because all they had to really pay was Yoko.
Yoko was like, yeah, give me some money.
Now with the new Wonder Woman movie releasing, there's going to be a lot of merchandise on the market, and Hot Toys has jumped on that train. They're releasing a 1/6 scale Themyscirian training armor Wonder Woman. Now she's going to come with an assortment of weapons. This is going to include her God Killer sword with a base, her shield, her bow and arrows, and of course her signature bracelets with a glowing appearance. And it's also going to come with a Paradise Island backdrop. Now, one of my favorite features of this is the joints. The joints are going to be underneath the skin so you don't really see them, with the exception of her ankle joints because they have to plug in. I love that we have that hidden underneath her skin.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like an actual person as opposed to an action figure, which I can totally appreciate. They did it on Thor, and now they're doing it on Wonder Woman. I think the face sculpt's pretty good. She's hard for some reason. A lot of companies just can't get her face right.
Well, she's so beautiful and perfect, it's kind of hard to match that.
Well, but she was sculpted out of clay. What's so hard?
Ah, that's true.
But I'm dumb. But yeah, this thing's going to run you $234 of very well worth dollars.
Absolutely.
Alrighty guys, so that was nerdy news for this week, episode 3.
Woohoo!
Like always, all the links to the articles and toys that we talked about will be below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys later.
Thanks guys.
Bye.
Bye.